How do here we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I think I'm going to put these cards here. Okay. And these cards. And what I would like to do is no, go on Facebook Live on my phone so I can. There we go. So I can see what's going on, who's here, who's not. Hi, Tammy, how are you? What's new? I have a client. Oh, texting me. She's trying to get on live. So Tammy, what's going on, Tammy? Keep us updated to the happenings in your life. I have a friend who lives in Canada. And she says she always has problems signing on. And I'm not sure if I need to get a different way of going online or not, but it might be because I know oh, you're here, Shake. Very good. Very good. Okay. So today, as I had sent my on my blog, I had mentioned that I want to talk about going from victim to victor. And I think this is a process that many of us do during our lifetimes. For example, when we change a job that we're not happy with, we get a new job, we finally, write our resumes and get enough courage to go out there for job interviews. And after a few of them, we find the right job. That right there is going from the victim being in a job that you're not happy with, that you're maybe mentally getting abused, you're being disrespected, to a new job where you're going to be appreciated and you're going to love your work. You're going to look forward to going to your work every day. And so it's a process, right? But how do we go from one point to the other? Now, I personally have been a victim for most of my life. It has been in my head that I am a victim, right? Because of life's circumstances, because I felt that as I was growing up, where there was a lot of negative thinking, negative words, negative thoughts that kept coming towards me from my family, and I believed them, right? And so at some point in my life, and I think many of us do the same thing, is that We don't need them anymore to tell us. I didn't need my mom or my dad or anyone else to tell me that I'm not going to amount to anything. I was doing it myself. So because it becomes a program, I'm going to throw out there that the same thing goes with advertising on TV. When you're constantly seeing the same thing over and over and over again, let's say it's a brand of pasta. At some point, you, without realizing, you're going to tell yourself, I think I'm going to buy that pasta and try it. Even though the one that you have that you always buy is wonderful and you love it, but you've seen it so much, it's almost like you're watching somebody cook the pasta. It becomes a pre-programmed. Can you hear the landscapers outside? If you can, let me know, please. I am very sensitive to noise, so whenever I hear somebody landscaping, anybody, I feel like everybody is hearing them. So I want to particularly talk about a period in my life when I was, my first husband and I were separated, and I was really sad. I was depressed. I was on, oh, good. Thank you, Tammy. I was on depression medications. Um, I felt no hope for the future because I had all my hopes and dreams, um, in one person, right? Hope my future, which is natural, it's nothing abnormal, uh, with the one that I had married. And after we separated, I was financially broke too. So I was emotionally broke. I was um, psychologically broke. Um, it was just, I was a mess. And I kept repeating that story over and over again. And I did go, I was on, um, hi, Janet. I'm glad you're able to message now. I was able to go see a therapist. I was taking my medication, but I knew that I didn't want to be dependent on medication. So that's when I started seeking other things. I started seeking help. I started reading about Buddhism. I started learning meditation. I started reading about self-development. And one of the things that I had read a few times was gratitude, but I didn't feel grateful for anything in that time. Again, I was sad, I was lonely, my marriage had just fallen apart, I was depressed, I was brokenhearted because I loved my husband, and I was financially broke. Gratitude, what am I going to be grateful for? So if you're writing notes, gratitude is number one. I wrote down the sun and the moon and Mother Earth, I don't know, 1,000 times. Every day I was to write 5 things down that I was grateful for. And then one day, a few weeks later, after I just kept writing those 3 things down instead of 5, uh, I helped an old lady cross the street. And that's when I realized, wait a second, I can cross the street without help. And that kind of just opened my mind that I can be grateful for other things. I can be grateful that I can walk, that I can talk, that I can hear, that I can listen. So my list started to change. And As my list started to change, my mind started to open up. My perspective started to change. And I began to appreciate the little things, because that's all I could see at that time, were the little things. Of course, the sun and the moon are not little things, but in my head they were, right? Walking, being able to walk was a little thing. When I continued to do that, when I continued to read more books and find out about the power of affirmation, I started positive affirmations. Of course, now we know that it's not just repeating the words, even though it will help, but it takes longer. Feeling it helps. So if you want to say, I am successful, and you don't feel you are successful, and you're repeating to yourself, I'm successful, yet you believe you're lying to yourself. So think of a joyful moment in your life that you were happy with. I don't know, you're playing with your dog, or you watched the child laugh, and that brought joy to you. So you want to put those two together as you're saying, I am successful, whatever success means to you. You bring that memory and you mixed it up together. Now, joy, that moment, that few seconds, that moment of happiness, and your affirmations are mixed together. And that becomes really, really powerful. So affirmations is number 2. Number 3 is having goals. In order to stop focusing on your sadness, to stop focusing on what's not working, what hasn't worked. That's why people constantly repeat, right? The negative thoughts that we keep saying to ourselves, because there is nothing else to hold on to. We are very much creatures of, we need to hold on to something. Birds are a great example, because in order to fly, they have to let go of the tree branch. That's the only way they can fly. You've got to let go of the tree branch. So we have difficulty doing that. And that's why, in order to let go of bad memories, in order to let go of the past, in order to let go of the sadness, you gotta create something that you are aiming towards. Those dreams that you have that you don't want to tell anyone, because it would be something else that they're going to say, RC is such a loser because she's had these dreams for so many years and she hasn't been able to do it. She's such a loser, right? And she's telling me another dream, this vast dream that she has. You're afraid of that feedback. And even if they don't say it, you think they are thinking it, right? And sometimes they're thinking. So writing those goals down, you don't have to share it with anybody, but writing it down and asking the universe, what is it that I can do to achieve this goal? And you ask the universe every single day. You see, the universe is not prejudiced. If somebody repeats to themselves, I am a loser, the universe will say, okay. And you know what else, how we are? I'll tell you how we are. In the old days, I don't know if you've seen some of the movies, they had these candles to light the room, and then they would put a mirror behind it, because the mirror would make the candle light bigger and it would light the room more. And so this is how we are. So if we're thinking that, if someone is thinking that they're a loser, they'll never find a good job, whatever it might be, they're heavy, you know, they don't have, they're not healthy, whatever it is that I'm lonely, right? You fill in the blank. So those thoughts hit the light, hit the mirror, and they come back at us. And before we know it, our aura is filled with that energy. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, and I remember this distinctly, many years ago, I was invited to somebody's, an Armenian family's home, and they loved garlic. They cooked everything with garlic. There was garlic in salad dressing. I sometimes do. It's absolutely delicious. There was garlic in the appetizers. There was garlic in the dish, in the entrees. And I'm not talking just about a little bit of garlic. I am talking about garlic overload, okay? So for 2 days, the smell of garlic was coming out of my pores. I literally am not kidding you. I was smelling like garlic. I was even disgusted with myself. I was like, oh my God, when would this smell leave me? No matter how much showers I took, the smell was just inside of me. It was pouring out. And when we're thinking these thoughts, it's the same kind of way. It's they're just coming out of our pores and they're filling our aura. And when this fills our aura, like energy attracts like energy. We attract the same kind of people towards us. So if you think and feel that you are beautiful and you are successful and you are amazing and the world is filled with miracles for you, and every day you're blessed with something amazing and you can feel it, remember that feeling of it, bringing a memory that is joyful into these affirmations. Eventually that starts pouring out of you, oozing out of you. It creates a new aura, it creates a new frequency. And you hold on to that frequency until it starts manifesting into those dreams that you never wanted to share with anybody because you thought they would never come true. So we talked about goals, we talked about gratitude, we talked about goals. Let's talk about triggers. How do we move through spaces? Now, before I go on triggers, Spirit just reminded me to remind everybody, I have this great vision board workshop that is not just, okay, cut pictures of what you want and tape them on a poster board. No, it's way more than that. You do cut pictures. You do get a poster board. But I let you know when it comes to career, where to put it. When it comes to family, where to put it. When it comes to romance, where to put it. There are particular places on the poster board that you put these things. And then I mix it with hypnosis and I mix it with writing. You write your goals down. This is done all online. You write your goals down. You write steps that you're going to take on a daily and weekly towards achieving your goals. It's an amazing workshop. Okay, triggers. We get triggered. We're human. Okay? Somebody says something, somebody does something, and it doesn't matter if you react or don't react. What's important is that when you go home, you write it on a piece of paper. You write exactly what happened. This is what happened. This is what so and so said. And this is how I felt. And this is what I said. Because that trigger, that person that triggered you is helping you resolve that issue. And the issue will come back and you will get triggered and triggered and triggered, not just that by that person, by 1,000 other people with the same exact thing, unless you resolve it. I always told my ex, do you really want to talk about this, discuss this issue in a month from now, in 6 months from now, in a year from now? What about in 5 years from now? Do you want this topic to come up again? So if you don't want to be triggered by that same exact thing, you're going to need to write it down and to go back to it whenever, or make a point to sit down once a week, twice a week, to think about it and to write about it until you get to the bottom of it. Once you get to the bottom of it, think up as the trigger as an onion. So you get triggered. And then when you start thinking about it and when you start writing about it, it's like taking a few layers of the onion off. And then you put it aside. And then you get triggered, 6 months later with the same exact thing. So it's time for that onion to come back, but it's smaller now. And you peel a little bit more. And now it's smaller. But as you get closer to the center of the issue, it gets harder. And at some point, until you become savvy at it, at some point, you will have an aha moment and you will sit down and you will cry. And the process of crying is a way of releasing. So triggers are also very important. Writing them down is important. This is another step to be going from victim to victory. That is why I've created a number of packages with different price points for people. Because I don't believe in, having a high price and expecting everybody to pay for it, especially in these days. It's important for people to continue their self-development. These are monthly programs where we meet once a month that gives you, like, constantly bringing you back to the center, because it's natural, because it is hard to go through those spaces. It's nice to have somebody that knows what they're doing, that has, a whole bunch of, studied. After my first divorce that I talked to you about, that I was sad and depressed and everything, that's when I started, everything started. And from that point on, I've attended many workshops, I've attended many seminars, I got many certificates to get here to this point, so I can be the guiding light for others, to help them come back to the center, focus on what they need to. And the more you do that, then slowly it's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. That's why my programs are not for 10 years or 5 years. They're 6 months, 1 year, 6 months, 1 year programs. So, and the last thing I want to talk about is triggers. No, we talked about triggers. Trusting yourself. So that when you've had people in your life that were negative, that gave you a whole bunch of negative feedback, and you are now trying to stop that negative thinking and to switch it, And I've talked about not fighting with it, but working with it, nurturing it. Trusting yourself happens slowly, but it is another step towards realizing that that gut feeling that you have, that intuition hit that you got is right. And I'm not saying that it's going to be right 100% of the time, but won't you rather make a mistake because you decided than for somebody else to tell you do this and it be a mistake? I much rather it be my own mistake, because then I can say that was my bad. And at the same time, the other 90 times that my gut was right, the other 90 times that my intuition was right, I can take credit for it. And I don't have to give the credit to anybody else. See, I told you, do this and you'll be good. I don't need that. So 4 steps for now: gratitude, goals, triggers, and trusting yourself. If somebody wants a card, I'll be happy to pull a card for you. And so Tammy says, you're still in the same house and you have extension. Okay, very good. I am happy to hear that. Keep going. Every day you wake up, keep going. Today will be the day that, oh, this is your card, Tammy. Life review. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. Are you getting rid of stuff you don't need anymore? Tammy, I'm curious. Give up a few things, like 3 maybe. And as you're giving them away or you're putting them, outside on the sidewalk and putting a free sign on it, or dropping them off at the Salvation Army or someplace, tell the universe, I'm doing this as a dedication to the new place that I'm moving into. And make those items something that you don't want to get rid of. You you need to, but you really don't want to. But it's time. Okay. Jeanette, it's so nice to have you here. Here is your card. Balance. The frequency of balance supports your ability to find harmony with all aspects of your 3-dimensional and multi-dimensional reality. You are finding balance in your life. You are finding your footing. I hold it up for a few seconds because the video is on a delay and I want to make sure that, yeah, you're finding your footing, and that's wonderful. Oh, you've already been doing that. That's wonderful, Tammy. Good for you. Good for you. Make sure you tell the universe. I'm giving this up in exchange for the right place to come. I'm trading with you, universe. With love, of course. Uh, Anybody else want a card? I like a card about my move. Okay, you are welcome, Jeanette. I want to do these cards because I want to. The Tower. So let me see what I'm getting ahead. It feels to me that at this point, you kind of feel that you're not emotionally attached anymore, that you're just observing the situation. Not that you're out of it, but you're observing the situation from a higher point of view. And that's wonderful. That's a wonderful card, wonderful space to be in. So good for you. I'm gonna pull um, Jeanette says, "Oh no, why? Why are you saying oh no, Jeanette?" Um, okay, I'm gonna go to the book. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this said the need to be aware of your surroundings, but I feel that you are. I feel that you are aware of what's going on. I'm reading the card not as a negative, but as a positive for you. Shake, I'm going to pull a card for you. I'm going to go to these cards. Okay. Here we go. Passion. Archangel Haniel. Trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and career. So have you lit that fire for your career yet? And what are you doing about your love life? Gotta take steps. Gotta take steps to achieving what you want. So write a few steps down, and for each one of them, what is it that you personally can do? What steps can you take every day or every week to achieve your goals, so that you can have passion in your career and you can have a passionate uh, love life? Okay, Jeanette says, I miss my apartment. Um, so she says she misses her apartment after she moved out. Um, she gave up the apartment to her husband. So just sit with that, Jeanette. If you truly sit with that feeling, and not just for a few minutes, but dedicate maybe an hour or two, and you know, distractions will come, and just let them go away. Sit with that feeling of missing your apartment, and what did your apartment represent for you. It is that representation that you are missing. But you need to go within, and you need to find the answers yourself. And to be kind and compassionate with yourself and say, yeah, I am missing my apartment. I am missing that sanctuary. And maybe you can ask him to move, right? Maybe you can ask him to move and let him go find a new place. So that's always an option. Okay, everybody, it was really nice being here with you today. Thank you so much for signing on. I know everybody has a busy life. I appreciate it. Don't forget to share the live videos, and have a great week. And I'll see you next week. All right, let's see now.